Joining us now is Congressman Jamie Raskin of the January 6th Select Committee. Let's talk about the legal case that you believe you have, or the DOJ might have, for connecting Donald Trump to insurrection, for inciting insurrection. I want to put up a graphic about Donald Trump and a tweet he sent at 2:24 on that day. Evidence shows that at 2:24 p.m., the tweet immediately precipitated further violence at the Capitol. This is the tweet about Vice President Pence. Immediately after this tweet, the crowds both inside and outside of the Capitol building violently surged forward. Outside the building within 10 minutes, thousands of rioters overran the line on the west side of the Capitol that was being held by the Metropolitan Police Force's Civil Disturbance Unit. Why do you believe that this was the precipitating moment for violence?
Well, that was a precipitating moment. There were numerous precipitating moments, all of which we document in scrupulous detail in our report. Of course, Donald Trump had said, you got to fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. When there's fraud involved, you can use a different set of rules. We never surrender, we never get in. All of those things in the direct, immediate incitement before the attack. But the statute that you refer to talks about incitement assisting insurrection and then giving aid and comfort to insurrectionists. And so the incitement to me seems clear, and of course both houses of Congress found in bicameral bipartisan votes that he incited insurrection, but he clearly assisted the insurrectionists in the specific moment that you identified, because Trump knew that the violence had been unleashed against Congress, the House and the Senate, against his vice president, and rather than acting as president of the United States to call the National Guard or to call the Defense Department or Joint Chiefs of Staff or anybody to help, he doubled down on it, and he said Mike Pence did not have the courage to do what needed to be done. He directly assisted the violent mob in pursuing its aims, and we were able to determine that there was lots more action right after he sent out that tweet. And the final part of it is giving aid and comfort. And although you only have to show one of these things, he did all three of them. He clearly gave aid and comfort on that day when he told the insurrectionists he loved them, that they were very special people, and so on. And he's continued to praise them ever since. So I think that each of those prongs is satisfied, although you only need one to show that that statute's violated.
And Congressman, put on your constitutional law professor hat for a moment. Talk to me about the 14th Amendment and what aspects of this might stand up in court. Can the 14th Amendment override the constitutional right for Donald Trump, if he were convicted of this, to still run for office and serve? Where do you think these charges, if he's indicted and if he's convicted, stand in terms of his ability to run again for president or be sworn in again as president of the United States?
Well, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment provides an automatic disqualification for running not just for president, but any federal office or any state office if you've been an office holder before who has sworn an oath to support the Constitution, and then you violate that oath by engaging in insurrection or rebellion against the Union. And if you do that, you're immediately disqualified for.
But it's never been tested. Am I correct? It's never been tested.
Well, no, I mean, it actually operated after the Civil War. It was put into the Constitution by the Republican Party after the Civil War in order to disqualify people. When the House actually first voted on it, they said they were going to disenfranchise anybody who'd participated in the Confederacy. And when it got over to the Senate, they said that sweeps too broadly. We just want to focus on the worst offenders, people who were actually in office, who swore an oath to uphold the Constitution and then violated it. And even in those cases, we're not going to disenfranchise them and say they can't vote ever again. We're just going to say that they can never hold office again. So I think that this would clearly apply. Some of the case law indicates that it's self-executing, that it's an absolute bar that the courts can enforce. But it's also clear, and we talk about this in our recommendations, that Congress can act in order to set up a process to make this meaningful. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz and I have introduced legislation to recognize January 6th as an insurrection, and then also to develop a process whereby the Department of Justice could go to the district court in the District of Columbia and have someone declared disqualified from holding office because they had participated in it.
Two questions for you, follow-up questions. The transcripts from all of the testimony that you've gathered, am I right to believe that all of those transcripts are coming out on Wednesday with the full report?
I'm not sure about the exact timing of it, but our intention is to make everything public that can be made public. In other words, there would have to be some compelling legal reason that something couldn't be made public if it would put someone's life in danger or something like that. But the vast majority of everything that we've gotten will be put into the public domain, and we're very eager to do that. And all of it will start on Wednesday along with our report.
So Chuck Rosenberg, who's also with us, who I know you know, worried that the transcripts would be releasing the transcripts in full while DOJ is doing an ongoing investigation would be a DOJ prosecutor's worst nightmare, because it gives the other side and all of the potential witnesses out there who still might sit for a DOJ investigation testimony the ability to coordinate and to get their stories straight. Do you see any issue there?
Well, I can't say, in particular cases. I guess I would just, make the counterpoint that all of this information we have put out in the public domain from the beginning, and I've got great confidence in Attorney General Merrick Garland and the prosecutors in the Department of Justice to be able to make strong cases based on the facts and based on the evidence. And, our committee has started with the assumption that we want everything to be known.
Congressman Raskin, it's Hallie Jackson here. Thank you so much for doing this. You've answered the question as to whether more referrals to the Justice Department could be coming. But I'm curious if the committee, you left the dangling threat of Jeffrey Clark, for example, or Congressman Scott Perry, setting aside the House Ethics Committee referral. So two questions for you. One, would the committee make any further referrals in the report on Wednesday or outside of that report to, for example, bar associations, to other federal agencies like the FEC? Or are you done? Meaning, are the referrals that you've made the referrals you're going to make, and that's that?
Yeah, well, we've made referrals in cases where we have found abundant or overwhelming evidence of culpability and major offenses committed against the U.S. as part of this whole scheme. There were undoubtedly lots of other offenses that occurred. Many of them are being prosecuted by DOJ, others perhaps not. But, yeah, our committee is coming to an end, and so we repose our faith and our confidence at this point in the executive branch of government, in the Department of Justice, to pursue all of those leads. We've done everything within our power to make available all of the significant information we have.
There's also, we anticipate this week, some kind of a rebuttal from House Republicans to this report, likely to come sometime in the next few days, and likely to focus on security failures. That was not a big piece of what we've seen in this executive summary or, of course, at the meeting today that just wrapped. Talk through why that is. We have some reporting here at NBC News. There is disagreement over how much of that to include in this final report, but I'd love to hear it from you.
Well, first of all, you will find a lot in the report about that, about what was known by different security and law enforcement agencies in advance of January 6th and what actions were taken and what actions weren't taken. Obviously, the Republicans whose lives were in danger on January 6th, who were crying for help today, now want to help Donald Trump minimize and trivialize everything that happened. So all of their attention will be on saying that somehow this was just a law enforcement failure. It's completely transparent. We can read through it. I mean, think of a bank robbery where someone masterminds a hit on a bank to rob the bank, and then afterwards wants to blame the security guards for not picking up better on the clues or having called in reinforcements or what have you. I mean, all those things might be right, but it doesn't in any way absolve the people who were the bank robbers in the first place of what they did.
Congressman Jamie Raskin, thank you very much.